Do this now to avoid being boring in conversation and to actually come off charming and to keep people's attention and to keep all eyes glued on you. This is the one thing that you need to do so you are not losing people while you're talking to them. Their eyes start glazing over, they start falling asleep on you. This is what you need to do. You need to appeal to their self-interest. And this, in many ways, takes effort for a lot of people, right? Because most people in conversation are merely waiting for their turn to speak, waiting for their turn to voice their opinion, right? And they're not even listening to anybody, right? And they're just having conversations, waiting for their turn, right? Whereas what makes a person unique is, or at least in conversation, or at least in a group setting or a social atmosphere, is somebody who can come along and kind of be selfless, right? And kind of always make things about the other person, right? And just genuinely wanting to get to know what makes the other person tick and adding value where they can, right? So whenever I'm in conversation, I would say like most times, 99% of the time, if we're in a group setting, I make it about everyone else. If somebody wants to ask me questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy, to open up and share. But my focus is getting to know people, right? Because I go out on a lot of social adventures, so to speak. I teach pickup. I take guys out on boot camp. We do cold approach. We're constantly in these social situations, many times high pressure social situations with complete strangers. Not only that, but beautiful women, LA beautiful, right? Models, some celebrities, right? Actors, actresses, musicians, you name it. And sportscasters, right? I met a sportscaster, ESPN sportscaster recently that I was like trying to game. And it was in a group of people, right? And a lot of guys will get nervous in these situations, and especially newbies, and they'll ask me like, oh, what do I say? What do I do? How do I come off looking cool? And I'm like, your mindset's in the wrong place. Where your mindset should be is getting to know everyone else, right? Picking and prodding about everyone else's life and figuring out who they are and what makes them tick. And, as I said, once I'm in a social situation, that's how I usually become the life of the party, right? I become the guy in the venue that everyone wants to talk to, everyone wants to hang out with, because I'm literally there just to add values to people's lives, right? Whereas like everyone in that venue, most times is just there to take value, right? They're just there to talk about themselves. They're just there because they want something from somebody. They want to get something, whereas I'm just there for my own self-amusement, right? I'm just there for my own, to live my movie, so to speak, right? So when I'm in a group of people, I will generally sit there and ask about them, ask about their lives, ask about their jobs, if they have kids, where did they grow up, where did they move from, what brought them out here. I mean, I'm genuinely curious to get to know people, right? And this is especially effective with women, especially beautiful women, right? Because most guys, believe it or not, when they meet somebody, especially someone they're attracted to, I've seen this time and time again. I just saw this last night. There was a hot girl that was on a date with a guy, kind of like know them indirectly, but she went on a date with this guy who was a personal trainer, good looking guy. This guy would pass for a Chad, tall, abs, personal trainer. And she was attracted to him. She went on a date with this guy. So, going on a first date with a girl and not getting a second date is kind of like you dropping the ball, right? Quarterback throwing you a bomb. You drop that ball in the end zone, right? It hits your hands and you drop it. We had an old lesson in my football coach used to say, any football coach will tell you this, is if you're a receiver, if it hits your hands, it's catchable, right? How many times have you heard that? If it hits your hands, it's catchable. So if you get a first date with a girl, there's no reason you can't get a second date unless you screw it up. So what he did was, and this guy was Chad looking, Chad worthy, gets a date with this hot girl that he really, really liked. I don't understand this. He really, really, well, I do. He's not in mastery. But he really, really liked this girl, right? Really had a big crush on her. the whole nine. Probably would have married her if he could have. However, on this date with her, he literally talked about himself for 2 hours. He just talked about himself on and on and on, to the point where her eyes were just like, and he didn't have the social awareness to realize, like, hey, I'm losing her. Because he's making it all about himself. Sure, he's probably nervous too, but at some point, you have to have the social empathy to look at the other person and go, am I losing them? Are they interested? I don't want to keep them here on this topic if it's boring them. Okay? Because you don't want to make it all about you. You have to make it about that other person. And the more you make it about that other person, the more interested they become in you, because so few people do that, right? But it has to come from a place of you not wanting anything. You have to be congruent with it. It has to be genuine. Like I said, for me personally, I genuinely like getting to know people. I like getting to know what makes them tick. I like understanding them, where they came from. And I just like that stuff, right? And I don't even like talking about myself so much, right? Unless they ask me, then sure, I'll answer. But I don't want to make the focus too much about me, right? So this guy talked for 2 hours, and it got to the point where she was like, well, okay, that was nice. And then she didn't even want to sit by him anymore, right? And then the guy ended up calling her the next day, asking when he could go out with her again. It's just total lack of self-awareness, right? But these are the things you'll see happen when, you just kind of talk on and don't realize, like, okay, wait, there are two people here. It's not just me. Am I holding this person's attention, right? Is this interesting for them too? Because there are going to be topics or subjects that is interesting to you, but might not be interesting to them, right? I could veer off on any topic, but I try to choose the topics, if I'm in a group setting, that will interest people the most and keep their attention, right? Where it adds value to their lives and not just my own. Make sense? So if you want to avoid being boring in conversation, guess what? Don't make it about you. Make it about the other person. Make it about getting to know them, right? And if you're in a situation, because I know a lot of girls do this, where it's you constantly asking about them and they never ask you anything about you, time to cut that conversation, because I don't like that either. I don't like it like where, hey, I want to get to know you, but you don't want to get to know me at all. Done, right? Done. Or if the person is talking like 2 hours about themselves and doesn't really ask me anything about me, done, right? Because this is going to be a selfish relationship. It's just going to be basically me hanging out with you and picking up your calls and returning your texts about you, right? And when it comes to a relationship, male, female, friendship, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, right? There are two people in that equation, so it needs to be about both people. And if one person is selfish and constantly making it about them, then it's time you exit that relationship, okay? Don't let yourself get bored to death. And if you are kind of talking incessantly about yourself and not realizing why you can't hold people's attention, that's why. There's too much self-interest, right? And not enough interest in everyone else. And this is why, like I said, when I take guys out, I do cold approach myself, or even if I do solo game, I can walk into a venue with full confidence knowing I can own this venue that I've never been to. Maybe it's a new town, a new club, whatever, intimidating people there, celebrities, whatever. I can own this place simply by making the conversation about everyone else, simply by being there to add value and not take value. So, as always, gentlemen, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Have you ever been in situations where you are in conversation with somebody and you were just completely losing them and you couldn't figure out why? Or you couldn't figure out, like, why do people always cut me off and like, hey, okay, I gotta go. It's because you're not keeping their attention. But if you've been in these situations, or you've been in situations where you're the one sitting there listening to this person like on and on and on and on, and they don't wrap it up, let me know in the comments below. Share your story below. I would love to hear it. As always, it's Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets, losing my voice a little bit. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell while you're at it. I'd appreciate it. And for you guys who love this content and all this red pill content, and if I'm adding value to your life, the best way to support my work is by jumping into my premium AlphaMaleSecrets channel All right, right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium Alpha Male Secrets content from me, so take advantage of it. All you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I'll see you in my next coaching video.